You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is a 2023 comic book action film and the sequel to DC's Shazam. It's once again directed by David F. Sandberg and starring Zachary Levi, Jack Dylan Grazer, Asher Angel, as well as newcomers Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and Rachel Zegler. Film finds Billy Batson struggling with internal confidence as he and his newly superpowered family try to find their way as crime fighters in Philadelphia. However, a new and more powerful foe appears when gods come to reclaim a prize that was stolen from them. I really enjoyed the first Shazam film. I know it's quite divisive amongst all sides of DC fandom, really, but I had a great time with that. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was really fun and funny. I love it. One of my favorite DC films in the DC universe, extended universe, whatever we got going on over there. However, nothing was really connecting with me when it came to this sequel. The trailers didn't really do much for me. The big blow up over at Warner Brothers and DC left us all in this huge limbo. So it kind of felt like, does this movie mean anything? Is it a close of a chapter? Is it a continuation? Zachary Levi may or may not ever be back in this role. Wonder Woman, limbo, Aquaman, limbo. Everybody's in limbo, basically, except Superman and Henry Cavill. We know that one is done. To mention Zachary Levi himself, I've met him. I thought he was actually quite lovely. He seems actually pretty genuine of a person. Oh, but he's really been saying some stuff online that has really gotten people up in an uproar. Then just this past week, we had a nice cameo spoiled for us by the studio itself in an actual trailer. Say the least, the lead up to Shazam, Fury of the Gods, has been tumultuous. Thus, I went into tonight still hoping for the best. Knowing how much I enjoyed the first film, I had hope that this could still be good. But in complete honesty, I was nervous. Ultimately, it's fine. It's okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about those positives first. Well, I do think Zachary Levi continues to be great in the role of Shazam. He is really just the perfect blend for this character of this childlike wonder and joy and happiness mixed with like the superheroisms of it all. He seems to be having a blast with this character and it works. It feels authentic and genuine. I thought Jack Dylan Grazer was fantastic in this movie, actually. He was probably the best performance out of anyone, and he was up against some big heavyweights in the acting department. But in so many ways, he's the center of this film and the true heart of what the film is about, and he is more than up to the task. I thought he was absolutely wonderful. Three new ladies are all also a delight. Helen Mirren is here to chew up some scenery, having a good time. Lucy Liu is fine, just given kind of a stoic, undercooked character. And Rachel Zegler I actually thought was quite charming as well. The film relies heavily on comedy and its tone, and I think the comedy is fun. It doesn't always land, certainly, but it definitely lands more than that other superhero movie we got this year. Found myself smiling and laughing and just kind of having an easy breezy, all right time as I watched the film, which felt intentional. And I continue to love the core messaging revolving around family with the Shazam films, this adopted family and the connection they have. And it gets more developed here, and it's honestly the best plot in this entire film. When we're focusing on the family dynamics, is when Shazam! Fury of the Gods is at its peak. While I think Billy Batson goes through a nice complete journey here, it's the familial journey that makes it worth watching. And the action is fine. The effects we'll talk about in the negatives, but the action set pieces by and large are right in tone with the film and match it. And when you pair the action set pieces with the family tone that is well developed throughout, it gives you a nice emotional attachment when we finally do hit the ending here. Cared, and I felt myself connected to not only Billy, but really everybody in this family, the ones who don't get much development or screen time. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Shazam 2? Well, those effects are rough, like rough. The first film wasn't the best, but it also had a pretty tiny budget. This film, I mean, that green screen is so evident in literally like every single instance. They don't, I mean, there is no convincing blending going on when they're flying, when they're on the back of a dragon, when they're doing this, doing that. None of it looks good. The effects on some of like the animals of the dragon itself looked okay, but whew, that green screen just took me out each and every time. The special effects by and large were actually quite poor. Part of that is because like the cinematography and the direction is not great in general. I mean, it is so brightly lit that they can't hide behind anything in this film. Even the vinyl battle, which by and large takes place at night, at dusk. Oh my gosh. I mean, it is still just like, oh, I need some depth or something to the cinematography, and there was just none. The editing was also real choppy and gave me a little bit of whiplash trying to keep up in instances. The direction itself is just kind of like odd. The film gets an odd pace because of scenes just not feeling like they come to a natural conclusion. Either they're elongated a bit too far or they're cut off in weird moments. So that comes down to both direction and editing in tandem led for some really kind of awkward, clunky pacing. We have all the other subplots, the subplots that aren't Billy Batson kind of coming into his own a little bit, the family connection. Everything else does not work. There is a romance in this film that was very bad. Just poor. It was poorly handled, poorly executed, completely and totally unconvincing, and such a big part of one of our characters' gross in this film is dependent on this romance, and it feels completely unearned and unwarranted. The humor, while I thought was okay for the most part, was done in that old school MCU style where they really inject it in the midst of tense moments or emotional moments that it really just breaks up whatever else you had going on. The characters and their decisions were a little bit baffling, leading to a script by and large that was just kind of weak. Now I'm gonna have minor spoiler alert here because I have two things that kind of are spoilers, kind of are not, and are pretty inconsequential in the end. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers for the film, just know that Shazam! Fury of the Gods is not as good as the first one. It's also not a complete dumpster fire. It's a pretty okay time. So I would give this a recommend for a nice matinee viewing. All right, we're dipping into those mild spoilers. If you're still around, you've been warned. First, I have to talk about the fact that one of the kids in the family is dealing with his sexuality in this film, and it's one of those subplots that fell completely on its face. Each of the kids that had their own subplot actually fell completely on their face. But his was so out of left field, so inconsequential, and it basically was just there to set up two separate jokes. He was only gay so that we can have two jokes in this film, one of which is the tired trope of people being like, "Oh yeah, we know." And I'm tired of that as well. Like I have it's very dismissive. It's a very dismissive way of handling someone deciding to share themselves with you. I thought the way they handled it here was quite dismissive overall. The thing I have to just quickly brush on is the cameo. If you've seen that damn trailer, you know Wonder Woman is in this film. And I don't think the cameo is actually all that bad. It just kind of looks funny, how it's ultimately handled. I just think it was such horrible, a horrible decision to show that in the trailers because Wonder Woman, by name specifically, plays an ongoing part in this script. If they had not shown that, would have been a fun payoff. But knowing it, you're just kind of like waiting. Horrible choice. Just horrible. There are two post-credit scenes. I thought they were both okay. The first one is much stronger than the second one. So if you're not really convinced we're moving forward anywhere with these characters or this part of the universe, you could probably just dip out after the first one. Overall, as I said, I thought Shazam Fury of the Gods was fine. It's like a perfectly serviceable superhero film. It does feel a little bit dated. It feels kind of old school in its approach, which is both charming and frustrating, partially because those visual effects also feel dated upon release. You enjoyed the first Shazam film, I definitely say give this a shot, give it a chance, and I don't know. But don't spend the full price money on it. You don't need to see this in IMAX or Dolby or even a full price regular ticket. Go check it out at a matinee this weekend. So that is my review for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Shazam, Fury of the Gods? Or have you already checked it out? Let me know your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.